semifinals, that is. We're going on to the finals. The winner of this, it's just 2 maps. It's all they need, and we're starting on Bind. Honestly, both of these teams on Bind, that feels like it's my birthday.
Yeah, and both of them have picked up a Viper as well, which is something we don't normally see. An aggressive start, though. Gambit looking to try and take some of that control away, get a little bit up in the faces of their opponents. And it looks like a lot of these pictures are very, very backwards. That is not Bone Cold. He's not wearing the Gambit colors, but he is going to find himself an opening pick.
Launching smoke.
Yeah. Would be an interesting outfit choice today for young old Bone Cold. Shados looking pretty good as well. Looks like the man himself. Shock darts coming through. Big damage onto Starzo right away. He's got to run and make sure he survives as the second shock dart was quickly up behind it. Bone Cold. A lot of the player coming through the TP. The snake bite's going to push him back, though. He takes a stance up on top, pop down some smokes for his teammates, and now he's a duelist looking to take some fights, but Nats takes him down right away. Turning around to watch the flank. Such good play by Nats, but his teammates are still stuck in spawn. They can't get out, and they need some help. The man himself comes jumping out of hookah window, and it's the distraction they need. Shados mowing them down, and the first round will, in fact, go to Gambit.
Really solid control taken as well. Like, to manage to hold on to Hookah individually, this is something I think we always think of Link whenever we're talking about that spot, but Nats just being able to keep that control and bring that round back from the depths, because it started pretty well for ACEND. I will say as well, like, I know that both you and I, fanboys of this team, well, maybe for different reasons, you always get slapped by them in scrims, and I just enjoy watching them play. Nats is probably my favorite player to watch of any team. I think the guy has so many ratty little setups when we see him on the Cypher. But I know you're a big fan of Defo as well, even though he's maybe switched up his role slightly from what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, big fan, mortal enemy. You know, you choose which word to use. But yeah, Defo is definitely a guy I got to keep my eye on. I'm just thinking about, I mean, yeah, he switched up his role in the sense that he's not playing the Jet, but at the same time, he's still a duelist, right? If anything, I think he's scarier when he's on this Sky. You know what is scary? Just getting torn apart like this. It's an eco, just classics to play with. And, well, Tom, it's not exactly going too well, but that's what we expect.
Yeah, this is a round where realistically we can't expect anything from ACEND, and considering we're going to be getting the buy coming in the next round, it should be for them to do a little bit more damage. The fact that that's flawless, though, is very, very good for Gambit, but they have come in with a full squad of Spectres, so something we see them actually do quite regularly. In fact, well, we've just let Boaster leave. He's going to get on with the rest of his day, but one of the things I remember them doing specifically was going for the pushes through all the way through bathrooms and then having them the teleporter to split in when they have these Spectres in hand. Something that it's very difficult to play against, especially in a case for Gambit where they actually have nothing to lose. They are only risking what is going to be the weaker SMGs, and they will have a full buy into the next.
You look at this setup for ACEND, and they're looking for some very early aggression right down through middle. It's Gambit that are trying to open something up. They're really trying to find some ground, but nothing was to be found. Even though the blind went through from Redgar, it connected. There's just too many players there who weren't blinded up on different angles, ready to swing out and help their teammates. Good start from ACEND, and a good follow-up, taking down the re-aggression from Redgar, dodging the flashes. And although Defo gets one, that is little consolation. For the bonus round that it is on Gambit, they really want to be walking out of this with 3 kills if they're feeling happy, just to make it costly for ACEND and make sure that with reinvestment in the next round, that they wouldn't have the ability to play a nice, comfortable one. But instead, this is a big money-making round for ACEND. I mean, they just lose Starzo, and even then, he's got his ulti online.
Yeah, I think they were expecting a push in this round, but it's not one of those cases where ACEND looked like they were caught off by any of the aggression coming out from Gambit. This is where we really get the bread and butter of this map, though, how the teams are actually going to play versus each other, the ultimates that could potentially be used into this round. As you mentioned, it's only going to really be Starzo that has anything to put into play, and for now at least, again, it's looking like there's going to be some early control battled for by the defensive side. In fact, they're pushing both sides of the map. They want both orbs, and you know what? I think they're going to get them.
Was that prepared? I mean, it feels like on some level they're used to that from Starzo, that position, or at least over on the ACEND side. Losing a player that early on, getting traded out, then after they needed someone to step it up, and it looks like Killaz is the man to do it. The A side is now theirs. ACEND overrunning it and getting their plant down. And we mentioned that there was an ulti online for Stars of CNED, painfully close to a res as well as he falls, and no one else on Ascend is going to be able to get it done. Not here and now. But if Nats finds a kill, Viper's Pit can be online, and that could be a saving grace on this retake if they can just find that little bit of space.
It comes down to this battle, really, and it's going to be won by Redguard. Now they just have to try and clear out the remaining couple of lamps, and Nats is going to get both. They almost tried to play that within a crossfire, but it just doesn't work out for Ascend. Gambit make that look, I'll be honest, a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Like, once they find the kill on the flank, I was thinking, okay, the round is theirs to lose, but to get rid of both players in lamps with one player basically pushing through, that was a bit of a shock.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe if he finds a kill on the way in, the ulti can be popped and that gets them over to the spike, but I didn't really expect it to be, well, just kill everyone and it does the same, right? And then you still have your Viper's Pit. It seems to work.
Yeah, I am liking the way so far, though. That this is how Gambit, again, we haven't seen them in a long time, realistically, other than within the CIS matches. And versus Fnatic, their defensive side was incredibly strong. They did struggle versus Fnatic on the retakes, though, when it came to their attacking side. Like, they were losing a lot of those rounds in the match that ended up being their elimination. So we'll see if it's still going to be the case, but they love to take map control, and they've done it again. Viper's Pit already down on A, a couple of players challenging to try and deny any orb control, and basically just make it so that those ultimates are going to take a lot longer to come online. One of them, though, already popped. In fact, for both what?
I mean, he couldn't see the Seekers coming in, right? So it's a much cleaner shot on his side than it is on ours, because we can see them from every range. But that was a disgusting shot. Connected now gives them a chance to fight into this. The ulti still up on A. The wall aggressively down on B won't really stop them, considering the control that Ascend currently have. They've got weapons to play around as well as ultimates with the res, with the orbital strike in play. This could be incredibly dangerous. Zeke not able to find it at the start. The blast back not quite coming in, but here we go. Right up to the back of the site. He dives into the orbital strike, taking so much damage, but it's unexpected. Gambit get completely blindsided by that, and at this point, I mean, this is a save, right? Viper's Pit is down on the A side. You might as well save inside it.
And that's just like, I have bathrooms.
If they come back.
they're not getting through bathrooms, guys. Don't worry. He literally hasn't moved. We've seen this a few times already in the tournament. I'm hopeful that he's actually just not moving. It did seem like when we went to his camp, it was absolutely fine. But no, I don't think we'll. Hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, we won't be having any of those problems today. But yeah, I think this is, again, another showcase of why Brimstone's ultimate on this map is just so ridiculously strong. Like, the backside of B is just basically completely covered, or it's going to be forcing a player out into a corner, which, again, we know from Ascend, they're going to be watching that corner every single time. And if they're going to go towards the A site, again, you can basically just clear out either the showers or lamps. It's such a strong ult, and that's why, well, we see Brimstone on Bind as a fairly popular pick.
I will say, not exactly the usual play to dive right into it, though. That is
true.
A little bit of a ludicrous interpretation. But I do find it interesting as well, the walls that were put down. I mean, this is much more of a common wall out of Viper, right? It's covering your mid angle as well as inside of hookah and B mid. But what was interesting in the previous round was that they put it very, very aggressively. And it meant that as soon as Ascend had pushed past it, which in the early round, they can get past that wall before you're even close by, they're as comfortable as can be. And in fact, the flash that came out of Defo didn't even manage to land anyone because the wall was blocking it. It was a little weird. Obviously, because they had the ulti down on A, they wanted to have more B support, but they went an interesting route about it. Now, having spotted that, Judge, I think there's a good chance they just don't go towards this part of the map as Starzo creeps up on it, which is scaring me a little bit.
I think it's almost just to try and hold players in with the rotation. As we've seen so many times, I'm almost sick of it. Like, I've had enough. I've had enough of the Judge. I've seen it in matchmaking games as well. Zeke, though, he's just taking control. Even if he doesn't get a kill here, he's going to make things very awkward. He got a little bit lost. Finally finds his way out of the poison orb. But they've got the control. The only thing they don't know is Nats. He's hiding, a snake in the grass. They're going to have his teammates break the wall for him so he can keep this control. It seems like Bone Cold was trying to check for it, but now Shados, he's got a showstopper of his own.
No way, man. The blind comes in exactly as the showstopper goes up in the air to take the kill. This is disgusting. Gambit are just running all over them. And there's no space for Ascend. Where can they go? Starzo's watching the back. He tries to make it to sight, and he can only get a glimpse of that A site plan spot before a bullet connects to his head. A gorgeous round by Gambit. And you know, it was a retake, really, Tom, but the spike hadn't gone down. That's the best part.
Yeah, I think this is where you really showcase the best of Gambit in just the interplay between the different players. Like, everybody knew exactly what they needed to be doing. Like, denying the player from pushing out of bathrooms, breaking the wall so that Nats doesn't give away his position. It was just all perfectly played so that everybody had the ideal spot to actually take the fights they needed, and Ascend ended up just walking straight into a trap. Yeah, it was a beautiful round. Zeke, he's going to go for something a little bit spicy.
Okay.
Now, we've seen this quite a few times now, the blast pack straight into a judge in the face. I don't know how well it's going to work this time because it seems like they're going to play a little bit further back from Hookah. Maybe he can get Redgar. I'd be surprised if he gets anything more.
Tom, you know my opinions about Judge on attack.
Oh, for God's sake.
Absolutely love it. You know, especially on the Rays, get those blast pack plays in the backside, and I almost wish that the push didn't come in just so we'd see it. But with Redguard down, that's a weapon to be retrieved, and obviously now the Judge shouldn't really be in play, but Zeke is just, he's going at it. He is really just sending it with that Judge. Eventually, he decides, I'll take the upgrade. A little spray on the way back as they make their way towards A. Nats, the solo defender, has a wall down, but he's about to be blocked out by the attacker's Viper wall. They intersect and don't really give a lot of room for Nats to do anything. He's got a silenced weapon, so spraying through that will be possible. Up goes the Sage wall to ensure the plant is safe. And now this is a pretty textbook round from Ascend. Should be tough for Gambit to find anything.
Yeah, they even have the TP locked down, so that they can't even... They'll know if anybody rotates in through that angle, so it basically funnels the remaining players straight through their own spawn, and they've got everything locked. The only problem was Nats, but realistically, how much are they going to be able to do with this amount of time?
Not a whole lot, you would imagine. At this point for Ascend, you know, you just want to drop these rifles, but they're starting to make some serious space. Nats taking down Kill as Spike, going to be stuck at least halfway. Zeke making his way through the wall, gets caught, but it won't be defused just yet. The time now running very, very low. They've got to get on it. It's already done. The Molly lands right on Defo just in time, but Tom for a 5v3 time on their side, everything to work with for Ascend. They end up with one player left alive on 10 HP. That is not a comfortable win.
No, that shouldn't have even been close. They had them completely locked out of all positions. I'm surprised Gambit managed to get that much work done. And okay, sure, they're the ones that come out still a little bit worse financially, but they've also made things a little bit awkward. The only thing that scares me now, sure, it's not a jet, but you still have ACEND back on the operator, and I think he's proven now that Sage is very much within his wheelhouse. Also gives him the ability to get a few more reses online with how many kills he's going to be getting, so I would be a little bit more scared at this point if you're on the Gambit side. Redgar, though, well, it's not a judge this time, but he's still going to be just playing close into Hookah, so the weaponry disadvantage probably won't play much of a part in this round.
You wouldn't imagine so. Really what I'll look at, though, is CNED. You know, he's playing this aggressive attack side up. A lot of the times, you won't even see teams take that out. And it's not working. Not this time. The birthday boy of Chronicle just domes him, taking him out of the fight immediately. A very valuable skull to take, not just because of the fact that it's CNED and it's an off, which is justificational enough, but he had the res as well, Tom, and that limits their options now massively.
Yeah, they've still got the Viper's Pit. Also, a lot of the A-site executions we've seen have only, well, basically relied on that wall because they haven't been able to clear out Nats. Well, I've said it before, I say it again, he's a bit of a rat. He's very difficult to clear out. Like, getting rid of him is going to be very difficult. I love the guy, fantastic player, but he just seems to be unkillable.
Killez, he got pushed in the smoke as he goes to trade his teammate. Chronicle's already right up on him. Great response. You see that ult go down. You want to get in it, get ahead of that Viper on the other team, and a pretty good round for Gambit yet again. 5-3. They really are feeling like the stronger side right now, Tom. Whether it comes down to those opening picks that they found, but also their retake ability and the fact that they're making rounds that should be clear-cut for Ascend. Very heavily contested.
30 seconds left.
Yeah, and it does feel a lot at the moment that ACEND are very reliant on that wall, because the second it's not there, they just get abused. Like, this round looked very, very easy for Gambit, and ACEND, they're going to be taking themselves a pause. Normally an incredibly strong team when it comes to this attacking side. They've blasted a lot of opponents out of this map completely in recent times. In fact, well, again, I'll go back to, just drop a few names in here. Versus G2, they got 11 rounds on attack. Well, I can tell you for sure they're not going to be doing that this time. Versus FPX, they got 8 rounds on attack. Again, not even a possibility. So we've seen incredibly strong attackers. Don't get me wrong, they've still managed to close out most maps on the defense anyway, and in some cases, for example, versus Rix, in flawless fashion. But it's still a bit of a worry that Gambit are already giving them an incredible run for their money, and in a way that, as said, I feel like the second CNEG goes down, they don't have that wall for the executions. Other than, I think, the round where they had the orbital strike, it's not looked great.
Yeah, it certainly hasn't, and it's rare to see ACEND challenged in these early fights the way that they are, to see CNED pressured like that. And sure, if you take the pistol round out of it, this is basically 3-3, right? Even rounds back and forth traded, so it might seem odd to say that Gambit are sort of doing better, feeling like the stronger team, but you can see it in just how tight the rounds that ACEND won have been. As we said, the leads, the clear-cut victories that they should have had completely stolen out from under them. Now, this early attack towards B, they know that there is that Sky close on long, and they're going to deal with it right away. Zeke just diving right in, but gets taken down. Not finding the space, they'll continue forward. The flash faked out by Starzo as he drops in with the classic. Own Cold's already taken Redguard Seekers to secure the site, and they know now, hey, that Sky is still pretty close. Hunter's Fury to try and delay this a little bit longer. To find
he's
much.
killed
That's
his
a great
teammate.
tag, and he took Defo down. I was just looking at the red guys. Oh God, that's so terrible. 2-man advantage for ACEND. This is an eco. This is a light buy. ACEND are saving money for the next round. That's been a full kill. What's going on right now? Gambit, that might be the lifeline they need to try and get back into this. They're still against weak weapons. There's a judge in the hands of Bone Cold, but that might be a much more scary thing than a Vandal or a Phantom as they look to push out of this smoke, and there it is. The judge tearing apart Shados. The trade's in instantly, and that is about as clean as can be from ACEND, considering the round that was in it, Tom. This never should have happened.
That's the worst round of Valorant I've ever watched. I can't top that. He just like, I'm pretty sure Defo just backs into it, but that was so heartbreaking. And then you just got it ended by a judge as well.
Man, I glanced at the picture-in-picture. I saw the res, and I'm thinking, okay, so Hunter's Fury is going to be redirected towards the res. It's going to get a tag onto 2 or 3 players, and then you just start screaming. I'm like, Tom, he hasn't even done it yet. I'm like, oh, Defo's dead somehow. Oh, that is awkward for sure. Redguard's not afraid to tell them that he's playing this with a judge, is he? He is sending out the smoke signals, but he still lost control. Great Raze utility to just push him back, and now a little bit harder to use that judge. They've even had to pull a rotate in.
Yeah, well, they could do that anyway, though. That's the thing. They've locked down, again, Showers with the ultimate from Nat, so they can afford to play a little bit of a gamble. They've also got Chronicle available, who still has his owl drone, who can go looking for information. And Redgar, I almost wonder if this is bait. Like, he has thrown in all the sound of him shooting that shotgun off towards Hookah, and then he's just sat in this ratty little angle, waiting patiently for the push to come in. Oh no, he's caught CNED! He looked like he was about to back away. The spike is actually right in front of him, but Bone Cold lands the headshot. So integral, but they're trying to isolate the spike, and that's exactly what they've done.
They're taking them all down. Look at this, one by one they go in, and Shados is making easy work of them. They hadn't even spotted Defo tucked away in the corner. This is a competitive half, that's for damn sure, in a somewhat unpredictable manner. But hey, when we talk about Bind, Gambit, ACEND, this is pretty much the game that I had hoped we'd get.
It's been exciting. I'll say that. I'm a little bit worried for our voices by the end of today with the match that we've got coming up next as well. With like, I know that there was an interview with Avova where he's like, "Oh, I wouldn't call us the super team." It's like, you've bought some of the best players in the whole of Europe. You being one of them, like, you are definitely considered a super team. So it's the Turkish super team versus the EU super team coming up next. But For now, at least.
Poison's off.
This match is definitely delivering. Gambit in the lead on their defensive side, and again, just battling for control everywhere on the map. They're not giving any space over it to Ascend. No respect given. Has to be earned. And again, you can tell they want to try and get something out of this orb, but Nats is just happy to peek into the angle.
Toxin screen down.
No charges.
They've pushed him back. They're flashing the corner. They're moving up. A lot of space claimed. Got a little ulti orb there for Starzo. Gonna be just one away now from popping those Seekers out, and it's really Zeke I'm looking at. Starting to creep up towards the B site. There's a lot of players grouped up on B, and he has an ultimate to play with, let alone his general utility. That's going to be the showstopper pop. He's looking to blast back into the site. He can't get over there, though. The nade thrown up in front, the Seekers in. That slowed him completely. They managed to drop Nats elsewhere. That B fake has worked. Look, there's only one player trapped inside of Lamps, and Redguard doesn't really have a choice here but to take this fight. He's good for one. The trade quickly in, and the plan secured. Ascend. Whoa, nice little shock dart. 4 versus 3. Good post-plant utility to play with. This should be their round.
Oh, that flash was gorgeous from Starzo. Both players trying to rotate in as blind as humanly possible, and he's going to close out with an ace. Fantastic round from him. And what? Exactly what Ascend needed. They'll get things back to 6-5, and I'd be interested to see what the finances are like. The last round from Gambit was pretty decent, so I don't think... Oh, I was going to say I don't think they should be in too much trouble, but actually, not great. They're going to have a few pieces missing here.
Yeah, it's definitely shaky. And whereas Ascend in the last round, obviously you had Zeke playing with a Sheriff, the dude had a showstopper. That makes a big difference versus Nats in the moment. You know, he's going to have to play behind his utility, much more passive stance. However, his teammate Shadows does have that showstopper to play with. That could definitely be a difference maker as we come into the final round. You're almost guaranteed that that's going to get popped off. And Redgar has this ult, but, you know, no one cares. They've crept through, man. Look at this with the wall. They're all the way in towards the spawn. Bone Cold has a fight on his hands. The Sheriff, oh, even gets a second kill. Okay, considering the fact that he had the worst weapon on the team and there's a showstopper still online on the A side, that's actually started out pretty well. The problem is Seeker's now going to be picked up by Starzo, right? There we go. He got the orb just now. Pops it out. That's going to be free information.
Well, yeah, they lost a Bulldog and a pistol. So all in all, out of all the weaponry they could have lost, that's the best of a bad situation for Gambit. The fact is, though, they are going to lose control of this A side. Looks like a retake. What is that from Shados? How do you even have the gall to go for a peek like that? Just straight into the open. And they still have a player here. Defo is ready and waiting. He's got flashes to throw them down. The heals to bring his teammates back right up to 100. And already, Showstopper could be about to make things a little bit more awkward. They're going to peek into it. He was ready for that, Mitch.
Oh, he absolutely was. Starzo's got it all to do now. 1v3 and already picked it down to a 1 versus 1 on the backside. This is a man that aced the previous round, now looking to do so much more for Ascend. Up on top of the tube, not spotting. He'll drop on this and now knows the player's in spawn, trying to bait him out into open combat, but time is so low. He has to plant, he has to stick it or go for the fight. All 4 kills for Starzo. That is 6-6 at the halftime. A celebration we see in his player cam, and damn well deserved. What an incredible turnaround in these last couple of rounds from him alone to put it on even numbers coming into half number 2.
What a god. He had no right winning that round. The 3 versus 1 for starters is bad enough, but then to be halfway through that planting animation and then just flick off and do that to a player like Defo as well. Like, I doubt he's had anyone do that to him in his entire career. Like, ridiculous stuff. That's 9 kills in 2 rounds as well from Starzo. That is absurd. 6-6 even on the half, and you know what? Wouldn't have it any other way.
That was possibly the last outcome I saw from that situation. Like, once he played time, I thought that's it, it's done, you know? This guy's gonna peek and planting. Wow. Oh, the Tiger didn't get too much here. The wall completely countering it out. This is a very expensive start to the round, but one that definitely favors Ascend, having picked up that ultimate orb. No surprise that it was Zeke. Grab that. The nade, so perfect, man.
Out of charges.
As soon as they hear the drone go out, it's just bang right on his feet. And again, Tom, you know, that cancels out a 400 credit piece of utility. That is absolutely massive. plus damage.
Yeah, again, we see these slow defaults coming out from Gambit. They know that at least somebody's here. They're not. He's not actually going to check this close corner. This could be a big problem. He's actually just gone straight through, trying to bait him out. But Killers doesn't fall for it. He's going to be able to get rid of his CIS brother-in-arms and one out into the 5 versus 4. Again, so much to delay. Starzo, though, incredibly low.
Well, they're pushing them down. They're trying to go for the classic jump peaks with the right clicks coming in, and it's working for CNET. Oh my! Nats alone, 1 versus 3. He has that poison orb to help him on a fight in through hookah, but they have plenty of time. They're just going to run this down as the toxins slowly deplete. Eventually, the walls and orbs fall. Here they come. Spotted him on the backside. He's into the smoke, but CNET is waiting, and the right clicks do him an absolute service in this round, putting the pistol into ACEND's favor. And it's quite a comeback, really. They were 6-4 down. Ace from Starzo, 4K from Starzo in a 1v3 clutch, and now the pistol. This is starting to look pretty good for ACEND.
But yeah, this is exactly what ACEND do. Like, we talk about them being this star-studded roster. The highlights normally come through as like, oh yeah, the Zeke, the fantastic player, CNED, best in Europe. Starzo's right there with them. It's not breaking a sweat in a lot of these rounds, and Gambit, actually after just losing the pistol, are actually going to take themselves attack. Now, as said, previously, their defensive side has looked incredibly good on this map. I think they've proven that their ability to take map control, delay their opponents, and make for a lot of awkward fights is something they're excellent at. But the fact that ACEND managed to clutch out a couple of those rounds has now put them in a spot where they have to do the work on the attack side. And although they are one of those squads that loves a slow default, and ACEND, I don't think they're going to be shying away from a fight anytime soon. I do think that this could be the tougher of the halves for Gambit, so they're going to take a moment to talk it through.
Possibly even contemplating that force buy, right? To just answer right back up, and up against ACEND. That would be a ballsy play, to say the least. Especially considering the half sort of lies in the balance, you know, things are evened up at this point, and you don't want to allow ACEND to run away with a 9-6 lead in the early stages. So I think buying up just a couple of pistols is the way to go. Sprinkle in some sheriffs into this week buy and see what they can get done. Hell, I know one thing. I'm still very afraid of Gambit when they've got sheriffs in their hand. They're just as good as rifles for most of these players.
Yeah, well, go into any esport, any video game you've ever played, and you're going to get domed by CIS players. They're born with these pistols in hands. It's only after a few years of playing that they're allowed to upgrade to the rifles. That's just the rules of living here. That's one of the reasons I moved to Ukraine, hoping it would increase my aim. It didn't. I still suck, but maybe less than before. Who knows?
My ultimate is not ready.
I'm not sure about the last part, but I can confirm every other part. Definitely, from my experience. Still, nothing will beat the day that you shadow stepped into a boombot. I'll remember that forever back in the beta. I think
the day where Boaster absolutely outplayed you and put it on Twitter.
One enemy remaining.
Well, we didn't need to go there, Tom. We didn't need to go there, and to be honest, I'm disappointed in you for bringing it to that, to the low blow.
There's lower blows. There's lower. Don't worry. There's plenty of stories in the Mitch Man section of my autobiography, but
great.
Don't worry. Coming soon.
I hope it never gets published.
2031, I think, is the year.
Partnering with Team T, are you? Okay, awesome. Well, at 8-6, we're seeing that bonus round come through for ACEND. Lots of weak weapons, and of course, the strongest weapon in the game in the form of the Judge, but takes naded heavily. 15 HP. Heals are going to have to come through for him to have any sort of a chance in a duel up close. Oh, the snake bites really eating away at Redguard there. He's going to regen up a little bit of his health, but costly enough. I have to say for ACEND, like, they're playing really, really patient. I think they're hyper aware of the kind of defaults that Gambit want to play, that very slow play. You said yourself, Tom, that this isn't a team on ACEND's side that will shy away from taking fights, but they're definitely holding their aggression back in these early rounds.
Out of charges.
Even still, though, they've managed to garner quite a lot of map control. Zeke, this is almost disrespectful.
30 seconds
He's just
left.
pushing behind them with the judge. And they know exactly where they're going at this point. It might as well be scripted, written down exactly for all the world to see, because CNED's now in the perfect spot. This is the bonus round. This shouldn't even be close. This is one we expect Gambit to win, and it's falling apart. Running out of time. Switch over to that judge, and now it's left all onto Redguard to try and find 2 kills in 10 seconds because he is not getting a plant.
He's not getting the kills either, Tom. I mean, in fairness to Redguard, the man got lit to 30 HP without seeing anybody, so that's, you know, less than ideal for when he takes a fight against a judge. At 9-6 is the exact scoreline that we warned against, right? This is why Gambit didn't take that force by coming into the second round. But the problem now, Tom, is that ACEND have got 9-6 and Gambit have got no money. So this is probably double digits for Gambit, or for ACEND. Not in the 2s, Tom. Not this time. But
No,
we'll see
yet.
if we get there.
What, are you getting flashbacks already?
Let's give us a 48, or give us a 50 round game this time. I'll be happy.
Okay, well that's been willed into existence. Luckily you're the captain of the Jinx, so that probably means that Gambit won't get another round, and CIS fans can thank you for that, but... Pistols in this one once again. These slower rounds so far have not been working out for Gambit, and as said, like, a lot of teams have been able to bite them when it comes to this sort of setup. Playing down that time, a lot of utility available for ACEND as well to slow them down. We know how long a brimstone smoke can last, but for now, he's not really needing them. Just picking them apart one by one, and this spread out across the map is really not paying off at all for Gambit.
It makes sense with the sheriffs to try and take those fights individually. Spread out, catch any pushes, and hopefully find a rifle to group up and take some sights. And there's always going to be that the duality of pistol rounds. You can either play them individually like this and try to get picks, or use numbers to your advantage and rush in. Kind of comp that they're up against here in ACEND, they have a lot of stopping power, so it's not necessarily going to be successful if you just go charging in. But, well, the latter isn't showing too much reward, as you said, Tom. Starzo's even going to just creep away from that reveal. Bone Cold on the peak for 4. Give him the ace. Yeah, give him the ace. It's only against an eco, why not? The only thing is that he did already have his ult, Tom. So, a couple of points that could have been distributed. But you know what? Dude's got an ace. We'll give it to him.
That's something you always do in your games, though, as well, though, right? You're like, oh, guys, I've got my ult, so I'm not going to go for the ace. That's something you're known for, in fact, and definitely not... I think the phrase you normally use is "This is my moment." I think that's what you normally say.
Right before I get shot in the head. Yep, that tends to be the call. Like, I got this. Runs through smoke, dies. I don't got this, guys. I think they're gonna win. But 10-6. Right, here's the buy for Gambit. This is a serious round. If Gambit lose this one, they're in a lot of trouble. Look at this ulti. That is an unusual one. We usually see it used towards A-mid, maybe Bath. They're going to use it in hookah. So deep. Look where it goes. It goes all the way around towards their spawns. You can even use that to push up. That's big brain. That's not what I've seen before.
Deformed Pac-Man. Like, it's gone a little bit wrong, but yeah, he's chewing up half of the map. I'm not sure I've seen a bigger ult than that. It's not going to matter too much, though, because even though they've got half of it locked down, the other half is being taken away from them. Nats with the triple. Already the flank coming through, but at this stage, they should be expecting Starzo to be there.
And Nats has his own little Viper's Pit now after that play. Gilles just loses his over towards the B side. He's fully made that rotate into A. Nice shot by Starzo, but he's going to be all alone and an ace clutch needed. Hey, he's done it already. He's found an ace before, but this time he will be denied. The weapons in the hands of Gambit certainly work out well to put 10-7 on the board. Not letting ACEND run away with it. And that was such a key round. I mean, if they do not win that, ACEND are looking at map point right away. And, well, coming back from that's going to be pretty tough. But now Gambit have bought themselves a lifeline.
Yeah, especially like a team like ACEND. They seem to be a team that I can't really think of many cases where they're just letting things slip away from them. Like, they've normally, once in the lead, it's very difficult to claim it back. Again, though, this is going to be an upgrade to the previous buys we've seen, as now the operator comes into play. On the attacking side, pushing him with an op with a Sage, not too easy, but you post this man up with an angle, And well, it's a very different ballpark altogether. Nats again looks like he's trying to push and probe mid-A, and Shados doing the same into hookah. But Bone Cold, he's been on today. I think that's his 20th kill of the map already.
Oh, not too shabby.
I've got your trail.
The ace that we saw before, the orbital strike online, but hey, Gambit, they're a man down already. Those ultis might not be necessary.
Welcome to my world.
Unless they want to fight through the Viper's pit, of course, because it's now being erected by Nats, and they're going to look to take some fights together. Orbital strike pushes them out of position. Spike is down on the floor. Still haven't managed to deal with that Viper, but it looks like they're about to catch Redgar out in the open, and Starso turns to take Nats. How did he do that, Tom?
There are many things that he's done today where I'm not going to be able to tell you how he did it, Mitch. And I think we'll just put that one in the folder, in the bracket for later. Maybe Hypok can tweet that one out as well, gain some few impressions. Because, like, he's been unbelievable today. And just, wow, shutting them out. Maybe yoinking a kill or two of his teammate there, but, wow. just ruining anything they can, and straight through the Viper's pit as well. Fantastic work again. He's having a day, and well, that's it. Like, he's not always the focal point of this squad. Bone Cold, he's been another today, and I thought he was about to have a little bit more of a battle. In fact, this has left things quite awkward for Redgar, as the rest of the team haven't been able to push, and he's already on elbow.
Unfortunate for Chronicle, he wanted to get that tag in and try to follow up. No, they don't. They don't know he's going up behind them. I have absolutely no idea.
Okay.
They would have thought they would have read that one, but Chronicle now alone had the ult, but, well, it's not going to connect, is it? 12-7. A devastating loss for Gambit. At this stage, you know, they had Chronicle start by putting the drone up through long. It almost caught the tag on the CNED, which would have allowed for, well, normally versus CNED, the Hunter's Fury wouldn't be too effective, but on the Sage, that could have been huge. But it misses. It's not able to connect, and now we end up in this spot where, well, CNED's able to just run wild and take a little triple kill.
Yeah, this is always the fear with Ascend. Everybody's turning up today. There hasn't been a player who hasn't had a moment, and for Gambit, they just haven't really been able to cope. Their attack has not looked particularly good. They let things slip when it came to their defense, and Zeke, see you later. You might have a showstopper of your own, but Shados is going to blast through. Starzo, though, I thought for a moment he might be able to get a couple, but I think Nat's got that kill while blind.
But look who's right behind them. There's two players, in fact, flanking it in. CNED takes the first, and here's Bone Cold swinging out for more. They've spotted Redgar in the corner, and he's quickly dispatched, leaving Chronicle all alone. That Hunter's Fury not likely to be used here as Zeke gets rezzed up. Killaz going for the fight up close. He's the last man alive, but he just about gets it done. 13-7 as we close out map number 1, and Ascend looked dominant that second half, Tom. My God, we had worries about their attacking side not going quite as